Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. We will not be taking too long. I know Art New Style is doing his live, so I am going to be moving out his way in about 30 minutes ish, kind of, sort of. Yeah, about 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 at the most, but let me hurry up and let's get to it, right? So let's do that intro again. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Alrighty. Um, this is a sickness. Shout out to Abba from the Abba and Preach YouTube channel. Okay, um, let's grant these young ladies this. These young women were far more reasonable than the first batch that we covered a couple months ago. Far, far, far more reasonable, but they still are off. If we're gonna be honest, they still are off, way off, but they are far, far more reasonable than the ladies from, once again, a couple months ago. Now, we have 3 black women on this. I will be talking about that in a minute. But, you know, the social media inspired lifestyles, right? Or social media inspired aspirations. Um, that there's nothing particularly unique about that. What is interesting is when these young women were questioned by Courtney Ryan. Shout out to Courtney Ryan for this presentation. Um, they Many of them just straight up pointed to social media and said, it makes me think that these things are far more attainable than they actually are. These men are far more attainable than they actually are. It was interesting. Shout out to and I want to say that Courtney Ryan was using the delusional calculator, right? The female delusional calculator. She may not have been, but I'm gonna assume that she was using the female delusional calculator, and she had to tell one of the young ladies, white young ladies, yeah, you're looking at a fraction of a percent, right? And for many of the other women, they're looking at 2% of men. I think the most reasonable of them was looking at maybe 15% of men. This thing is, woo. What I found interesting though is just about every woman. Now, I'm assuming that none of these women know each other and they didn't have a conversation with each other beforehand. We're making that assumption. But all of these women pretty much wanted a man about 5 years older than them, give or take about 5 years older than them. At max about 7. Well, no, some of them were willing to go 10 years above, but it was averaging to about 5 years older than them, and I found that fascinating because how much of this is socialized and how much of this is, more biological. And I would argue the 5 years older than me thing, I would argue is that's not socialized. I don't think that's socialized. I wouldn't be surprised if it is, but I don't think so, right? So that was interesting to see how many women wanted that in particular. A guy that's about 5 years older than them on average. Now let's get to the favorite part of everybody of this video. Everybody loves the part where Courtney Ryan starts to tell them what men actually make on average for the top of the age range that they look at, right? So usually the age range is their age up to about 5 to 7 years, sometimes touching 10 years, but 5 to 7 years. Every single woman was off. Some of them better than others. Shout out to the sister that wanted the dude that earns $200,000, but according to her, she's earning not too much away from that. So okay, alrighty then. But yeah, once again the 5 to 7 year age range, but the look on some of the ladies' faces, and the one white young woman who pretty much said, "This is why I'm single." And like, I'm gonna be single forever. And all 3 of the black women pretty much said, nah. When Courtney Ryan was like, "Are you okay with being with a man that earns less than you? Are you okay with?" And the young lady with the black young lady with the white was like, "How much less?" Right? And the way she said, "How much less?" The eye rolling. The black women ain't trying to hear it, right? Black women are not trying to hear it, right? And it's, hey, we understand. Black people, these are your daughters, right? These are your daughters. The black women were not trying to hear it. So we got women and like I said, far more reasonable this time around. We got people, looking for 70, 80 grand a year men. We got people looking for 160 something $1,000 a year men, which is still, top 5-ish, top 10-ish%, but okay, far more reasonable asking for a 200 men, which still more reasonable than what we've seen before, but yeah, still delusional, right? Just not as delusional as we've seen before, so I guess we're making progress, right? So, you know, I'm glad that Courtney Ryan has incorporated in her conversation, asking the ladies, why do you think you were so far off on the money, and what do you think is causing you to ask for so much? And like I said, many of the young ladies have said, just straight up said, social media. I was considering titling this video, and excuse me for my background, I know it's loud. I was considering titling this video, "Social Media Made Me Do It." That was the other title I was debating using, because social media, from what these women are saying, social media made them, speak like this, sound like this, right? And that's unfortunate. But once again, I would like to direct y'all to the fact that one white woman and just about all three of the sisters were like, yeah, nah. And I'm glad that Courtney Ryan incorporated this into her conversation also, telling all the women that the guys that are making the type of money you looking for are like 70 plus, 70 plus years old, 73 and 75 years old. Are you open to dating a 73-year-old? Right? This is where we are, and it's a good thing that we're like showing like it's not the men. These are your daughters. And I don't know if getting rid of patriarchy will solve some of this delusion, but I don't know. Right? At least these ladies sound better than, once again, the group of women before, but you know, the look on some of their face, what they're asking for, the young black woman, but she was very young, asking for a 7-bedroom house. I mean, whew, 7-bedroom house. 7-bedroom house. When a 3-2, at least in South Florida, a 3-2 with a garage is going for 450, 420, 400 if you're super lucky, and it's not in the greatest neighborhood, but it's not in the worst neighborhood either. And she's asking for 7 bedrooms. Ugh. Right? Yeah. I people, I'm a bit of a loss for words, even though this is what I do. But yeah, right. So, this is what many young men are running into in the dating scene. This is why, shout out to Better You. The brother Better You said he was 27, dating a 24-year-old, or took a 24-year-old out on a date, and she talking to him like his 70 grand ain't nothing. $70,000 a year at 27 years old, and she talking to him Remember, she worked at Popeyes. Okay, nothing wrong with that. We're black. We don't do the whole, talking down to people because of what they do for a living. Cool. But she worked at Popeyes. Speaking of his brother who's earning 70 grand a year at 27 years old, which remember, the average American male never earns more than $65,000 ever in his life. Not just black man, American male. Yeah, this 24-year-old is speaking to this 27-year-old who's already earning 70 grand a year. Like, what you doing? Right? Shout out to D Scott. I see that super chat. Give me 1 second. I'm on the expressway. I will read it when I get to a red light. That's going to be a couple minutes from now. Right? So this is not just internet. This is not just social media. This is like how women are actually speaking. Right? Shout out to the brother Doberman. I don't remember what his name goes. I think he has. At one point he was Warshak. One time he was Doberman. He continues to change his name. He calls into Roger all the time. But he told you he was dating a Jewish girl who pretty much said the same type of thing to him. So this once again crosses class lines also. Right? This is not just a social media thing. This is not just a black woman thing. If you want to know why passport bros exist, Kim from Fort Harriet. If you want to know why passport bros exist, FD signifier. If you want to know why passport bros exist, O Stefco. If you want to know why passport bros exist, Selkis Ray. If you want to know, this is why. You know how many of your daughters sound like this? White, black, Latina, and otherwise, Asian and otherwise. You want to know how many of them sound like this? This is what your sons are running into. Y'all just want to talk about passport bros and SYSBM like they're doing what they're doing just to have some cheap sex. Yeah, maybe. Because these are your daughters. Right? These are your daughters. Talking about a 33-year-old earning how much money a year? 80 grand plus? Not impossible. Definitely more reasonable than we've heard before. But still way off the mark by more than double. Just about. And I still think Courtney Ryan's numbers are a little off, a little hyped up. And I'm not blaming her for that. I think the numbers are a little off. Right? And with that, look at this guy swerving in the lane like a mug. Shout out to y'all that be on your phones, Mr. Z. Shout out to y'all that be on your phones and doing all this extra stuff while you're on the expressway. You're either trying to die or cause others to die, apparently. I gotta hurry up and get to this red light before this comment comes off. Give me a second. I am almost at the red light. I see I got another super chat that I gotta read. Oh, give me a second. I'm trying to get to the red light before it goes on and the light turned green that I can see. Okay, so you're really gonna have to give me a second. Okay, let's see if I can hurry up because I need to read this before I cannot see it anymore and cannot read it. Right? So, oh, look, we made the red light. Okay, that's actually a plus for once. We're always trying to make the green, but we made the red. All right. And so the first super chat, I think, was from D. Scott. Give me a second. Let me get to the full stop. Oh, I'm going to get honked. I cannot actually stop at the red light. Okay. That's a good thing and a bad thing. All right. Well, so I guess we'll continue with the commentary until I can actually get to a red light to read these. Um. So yeah. These are your daughters with this delusion, inspired by social media and by the media, right? And by mainstream media. Look how and look at the look on their faces. There were two white women that seemed just a little bit more reasonable than everybody else. And they weren't too taken back, they weren't too irate, they didn't have much of an issue um or anything, right? And so let's start with D Scott, and D Scott says smoking crack and retarded dust. Right. And thank you, Mr. Me Too. Mr. Me Too says support black male media. Hashtag black male media. Thank you, Mr. Me Too. And we're gonna leave your comment up for a little while, right? And once again, thank you for the super chat, right? So you know, you know what I found frightening, and this speaks to a video that BGS did maybe 3 years ago. At this point, it was somewhere between 2 to 3 years ago. At this point, BGS put out a video that spoke about black women's expectations and non-black women's expectations when it came to men, finances, what women consider providership and all that other stuff, protection and all that. For those of you that remember that video from about 2 to 3 years ago at this point, and the women, black women, were far more stringent in what they considered a man and what he had to provide and what he had to be, right? Than other non-black women. And this video shows you that also. This video, 3 years to 2 years removed from BGS's video, shows you exactly what BGS was speaking to. And BGS was, I think he was reading some data and research paper. I'm gonna go look for that video. But it speaks to exactly what BGS was speaking to, because those black women would not come off of it. So you had one white woman that was like, yeah, the woman that was looking for the millionaire. So you had her. You had the two other white women that, one of them was both of them look a little bit more homely. They sounded a little bit more reasonable, right? But all three black women, nah. Any black men here surprised by that? And y'all want to know why these women are divorcing their black husbands within 5 years? Keep on saying it's character flaw, while all the data and everything that you can shows no money. All these black feminists talking about black men like character flaw, character flaw, character flaw. Homophobic, transphobic, colorist, horrible father, horrible husband. Yeah, character flaw, right? Uh-huh. Money. Right? Money and black women's delusion. Right? Money and black women's delusion. And remember, social media on this level is barely 20 years old. Let's see where that delusion gets us in the next decade or so. We can already see how it's affecting how the women see the world. I've said it before. They're on social media. They're following their favorite content creators, and their favorite content creators are just hyping them up with all this delusional talk. Right? All this delusional talk. So they're following Cardi B. They're following Young Miami from City Girls. They're, what's her real name? Carisha, I think it is. They're following all of these people, right? They're following Diddy. They're following all of these people, And all these people, all they do is show these lavish lifestyles. And then even your average person, they don't show their extra regular boring lives. They show when they go on vacation. They show when they go to that $250, $300 restaurant. They show the dinner, and your everyday, normal 9 to 5 teenager, all the way up to your women in their 40s, are all watching these same people, and now they're delusional as hell about money and how much money men earn and what average and median look like. As I've said before, these people are thinking upper middle class is just middle class. They're looking at that $250,000 a year lifestyle, that $150,000 a year lifestyle, like that's just normal. Like that is just normal. Like I said, keep thinking these women are divorcing their husbands because of character flaw and cheating. These men could cheat their butt off if they earn enough, and we all know it. Y'all were mad at Kevin Samuels for actually vocalizing it and saying it. It's proven. I would ask Courtney Ryan to ask these women, would you let your man cheat if he could provide you with this lifestyle? After all of that questioning, be like, okay, you're either relegated to the regular dude that's earning 50 or the baller dude that's earning let's say $250,000, but he's gonna cheat on you. You really want to see how women really operate? Ask that question. Like Mr. Z said, I remember speaking to a white woman years ago when I worked for the Florida Democratic Party. And she looked me in the face and said, you know who's going to dismantle all the progress of feminism? Women are. She said, women are. She said, as the higher women go and the harder they work and the more they realize this. Remember, this is a left-leaning white woman. She was a couple of years older than me. And she was like, Z, it's going to be women. It's not going to be men. It's going to be women. Because the way we want to feel when we're with men. Translation, we don't actually want equality. For all of you that don't understand what Mr. Z is saying and what that white woman was telling me, we don't actually want equality. And by the way, I didn't push her to say it like that. As a matter of fact, that almost came out of left field when she said it to me. Yeah, we were kind of generally speaking about those like relationships and intimacy, but her saying that actually came somewhat out of left field. And so when I told FD during that interview or during that conversation, I think women still want that. And he told, oh, we're getting to an area I feel uncomfortable. But I didn't say that out of nowhere. And he admitted, you know, him and T Noir and Kim from For Harry and what that bubble with Khadijah, he admitted like they occupy a smaller space than maybe you would think. Translation: more women sound like the women over here on Courtney Ryan's show than sound like Kim from For Harriet and Julesy and Khadijah. And GC says, those moments of honesty, gotta love them. I'm telling you, brother. I'm telling you. Y'all remember Mr. Z saying, the internet will expose us all. Or better yet, we're going to expose ourselves on the internet. I know why I say that. Right? I know why I say that. Exhibit A. These are your dog. And remember that I think the youngest was the sister with the jacket at 21, and I think like up to about 28 years old or something like that. So they're in their 20s, But Courtney Ryan, if you're listening, I would love to see you interview 35 to 40-year-olds. I guarantee you they still sound delusional. I put money on it. 35 to 40-year-olds or 35 to 45-year-olds. I put money. They may not sound as delusional as the first group of women, but they're going to sound about as delusional as these women right here. Right? I put money. That way of sounding doesn't change as they get old. They just get angrier as they get older because they can't have that lifestyle and they can't have. They've dated that man. They've had sex with that man for some of them, but they can't pin him down. They didn't get the ring. And as they get older, they just get angrier at the world, particularly working class and normal men. This is what I was trying to tell the brother FD Signifier. As those women get older, for those of us in our, well, all the way up to BGS age, for those of us in our mid 30s and our 40s, we see them. They're angry because now they feel like they're being relegated to regular men in a regular life. Right? I wanted the Benz GLS SUV, not the CRV, not the Honda CRV. Right? I wanted the 7-bedroom house, not the 3-2 that I'm barely able to afford. Shout out to that white woman. She straight up looked up. Yeah, this is why I'm single. Well, I'll be single forever. She said it. She said it. And don't y'all forget, it's not just a white woman thing. Remember what Kim from Fort Harriet said, right? I may not have all the options, but I have the option not to mess with you. She didn't say mess with. She said F with. So this affects everything. You want to know why? And yes, Mouse Utopia, of course, before Nameless or BGS pop up, Mouse Utopia. But you want to know why they're having less children? You want to know why they're not getting married? You want to know why they haven't dated or have sex in years? You want to know why they got the little teacup dog and treat it like a goddamn princess? Right? You want to know? And we're still assuming that she still isn't a complete a-hole. Like, you know, we're not even putting on her, character flaws and being a mean person and being an a-hole. We're assuming this woman is a kind woman or just a normal, everyday woman that's just delusional when it comes to money. God forbid now she's a mean person or she's an a-hole or any of that. We're not ascribing to these women any type of like character flaws, right? And thank you for that, Better You. Better You says, I had a conversation with a 45-year-old woman from Alabama, from Bama a couple of days ago that proved a lot of the points you and Obsidian have been making as of late. Bro, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You know, you can ask Mr. Z's closest of friends, high school friends, even my best friend. Mr. Z been sounding like that since they knew me in high school. I didn't have to have a heartbreak to sound like this. Mr. Z is one of those few brothers that didn't have to have a heartbreak, didn't have to be nuclear rejected to sound like this. And if you ask my mom, she'll tell you Mr. Z been sounding like this since preschool. Like I said to y'all before, I don't know where I got it. It wasn't my dad. It wasn't my mom. It's just being observant and not needing to lie to myself to make myself feel better about where I stand in this society, the things that I see, right? Not getting off on being delusional to protect my little fragile ego. Mrs. Z's not that person, right? So, once again, we realize these people are delusional, um, and it does affect your society, right? I don't know why people think your individual delusion doesn't affect others around you. That's BS. Once again, hyper individualism run amok, right? Thinking that what you think and feel about the world, what others think and feel about the world doesn't affect you. That's not true. As evidence, and I'm going to cover it tomorrow probably. I haven't watched the video. I'm not going to watch it of the cops, the black cops and the what just happened, or at least the release of the footage. I'm not going to watch it. Right. Shout out to Mama Z. Mama Z called me just to vent, right? Just to vent about it because she watched it. And I told her, yeah, Mom, I'm not watching it. And she said, yeah, don't watch it. Right. But I will cover that later. To and the I'll just tell y'all the theme is gonna be black people's anti-blackness and Martin Luther King saying, I'm afraid I'm integrating my people into a burning house. And what you get from that. Right? If the system is anti-black, when you integrate black people into an anti-black system, what do you think is going to happen? And this is just assuming that this wasn't like some street stuff or some, because they're all around the same age, including the brother that passed. So we're assuming that there's not some other shady stuff going on. But back to the topic. These type of things, these type of ideas, people feel in a particular way about the opposite sex and what the opposite sex should do, should be, right? It affects your society, right? It does. As evidenced by these women, as evidenced by the other women that Courtney Ryan interviewed earlier. Y'all saw what that white woman said? Well, I guess I'll be single forever. And she probably won't be. Shout out to whatever man she end up with that she thinks isn't good enough. She's going to make your life a living hell. Feeling like she settled for you? Have fun. Which reminds me of the sister that was on with Obsidian and was speaking about temporary men. Right? What she said, we want lead attorney. We hold out for lead attorney. We have boyfriends. I'm paraphrasing. We have boyfriends. We have husbands, and we put them in a temporary man category. That's why we treat them like a temporary man. Exactly. And that's what many of these type of women that Courtney Ryan is interviewing, that's how they're going to treat their boyfriends and maybe even their husbands. Right? And Namer says, have you seen Green Gorilla's video on that? No. What's the title? What's the title of the video you're referring to? Right? So y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. But yeah, so oh, it's already 34 minutes. All right, so I'm gonna wait until Nema answers and we'll start doing our closing. And yeah, as I said, I wasn't gonna be on too long. I don't want to step on Art New Style's toes too much. All right. Oh yeah, he just did that. No, I haven't watched it yet. Actually, that I'm going to watch that before I do my video. Yeah, that was on the list. Yes, thank you, Naima. He's regarding the black police officers. Yeah, he just put that out. Yeah, I saw the thumb. As a matter of fact, it's in my history of my YouTube history right now because I clicked it so that I could make sure I don't forget to watch it. Right, and so you know, once again, no reason for me to belabor the point. Let me hurry up and get out of here. These young ladies, like I said, they were far more reasonable than the young women that Courtney Ryan interviewed before, but they're still delusional. I want to direct y'all to how the black women responded and answered these questions, right? The looks on their faces, definitely the look on the sister's face that was wearing white, the eye rolls, the eye, pretty much I ain't settling, right? No struggle love. You can see it on her face. Nope, I ain't doing no, hell no. Right? Shout out to all the swirlers, divestors, and now the passport girlies. We're going for love. Yeah. Yeah, right. Love, right? All right. That's it. We need to start asking these people what do they mean by love? What's their definition of love? How do they expect a man to show love? That's a really good question right there. How is a man supposed to show you love? What's your definition of love? Right? Huh. No wonder y'all chasing after the white guys so much. Right? Better use his Z with the Doctor Doom laugh. I'm saying you gotta do the maniacal evil laugh. What else is there for this type of stuff? For real. Very good one, GC. Love is a white man acknowledging their existence. Brother, what you just said is so real, it's frightening. Because what you just said is, it seems more evident day by day. Once again, this is where Dr. Jennifer Lundquist and Dr. Chantel Bugs come in with their um, online dating um, statistics and data. That's where they come in, right? So yeah, hey, if we're living on the internet now and we're living on our social media web sites, then the delusion will continue because no one wants to be honest, bro. I'm all over these interwebs, bro. I'm all over these interwebs. Nobody's having a no. This is why I gravitated to BGS. This is why I gravitated to, as much as I know some of you brothers and sisters ADOS have an issue with these people, but this is why I gravitated to Tone Talks, to Yvette Carnell, even to Zoe sometimes, Zoe Williams. This is why I gravitate Jeff Brown sometimes. Some because like these are like the only people saying some real. Everybody else is selling you on some get rich quick scheme, some level up something, toxic positivity, hopium, extreme optimism, and I'm telling Mr. Z is on the north side of the average income and the median income for men. I'm on the north side of that. So this is not about being on the bottom or struggling or being resentful about successful brothers and sisters or successful people in general. That's not where Mr. Z is coming from. That's not what's animating me. Shout out to Nameless. That's not what's fueling me. Is that I hear this as the opium we sell regular working class everyday 9 to 5 people so that they don't realize how much they're being effed by this system. That's the men and the women. You sell the women on getting with a baller dude. You sell the dudes on becoming ballers. You sell both people on aspirationalism. So yeah, she could work hard and she could do her thing and she could make 6 figures, but she got to be with the man that makes 6 figures plus. And then you sell the men on making 6 figures, period. You know? Oh, we just hit 40 minutes. All right, you guys. Um, Mr. Z, pause right there. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Thank y'all for listening in. Y'all go check out the brother Art New Style. He's streaming right now. Also, after that, check out other non-Black Manosphere content if you're still up, so that we don't sound delusional like these ladies, right? And in the comments were a bunch of people speaking about this is why we need to teach finances or economics in high school or in college. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't, or a lack of financial literacy. This is not a lack of financial literacy. This is bigger than that. Because you're financial literacy, you just telling people how to manage their money and how to balance a checkbook and all. No, 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 no. How to invest? No. We need to tell people how much people earn, how much people make, and how much people make how much they make. Right? That's what needs to happen. If y'all want to have this type of conversation, y'all need to be honest. Right? I see G in the comments. G, I'm about to close out in a minute. G travels this country. G could tell you how delusional people are when it comes to how much Mr. Z done said it. Your average white person is living Roseanne's life. I don't know why we think they're living the real life of Orange County. Of course, there's rich white people. Duh. Nobody's saying there's not rich white people. But far more white people are living like paycheck to paycheck like the rest of black people than we would like to be honest about. Far more white people are extra average than we would like to be honest about. Right? So, once again, shout out to these young ladies. Shout out to Courtney Ryan. The delusion is real. It affects all of us. It affects family formation or lack thereof, clearly, right? Clearly. And G says, TV is the great manipulator, the Wizard of Oz. I'm saying, you know. And let me get out of here before y'all hit me with the Mr. Z. I'll pause right there. 20 minutes later. Right, let me get out of here before y'all hit me with one of that. So truly, pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out Brother Art New Styles channel and then go check out some other non-Black Manosphere content after that. All right, Mr. Z out. Y'all have a great rest of y'all night.